Hey there, let me show you how you can quickly improve a photo in Camera Raw. I'll keep this as short and sweet as possible. Here's the idea. Do you have a boring image? In comes Camera Raw. This is a very powerful part of Photoshop that can feel overwhelming. For that reason, in this lecture, we're only gonna cover the essentials so you can get up and running with it and get results fast. We'll have a separate section about Camera Raw later on in the course. There, we'll dive deeper into it. So again, for now, this is just an overview. Let's jump straight into it. Okay, let's get started with this photo of an oatmeal jar. I snapped it with my own camera. I'm not a photographer, but I needed some photos for my website, so I tried my luck with it. Most cameras will give you two files for every photo you take. A JPEG file, which is pretty standard, and in my specific case, a CR3 file. I'll explain the differences in a different lecture, but here are the essentials. Number 1. When you have the option, use the RAW file in Photoshop, not the JPEG. That's because the RAW file always contains much more information. If you just look at the size, that's a dead giveaway. The JPEG is about 5 megabytes, while the RAW file is about 27 megabytes, so that's a huge difference. There are two ways to open Camera Raw in Photoshop. A, you can simply double click on this RAW file, wait a moment and that will launch Camera Raw in Photoshop. But assuming that doesn't work for you on your end, you can do this. Let me close this part by hitting cancel. The second way, B, is to open Camera Raw in the following way. Drag and drop the JPEG file into Photoshop. If that doesn't work either for whatever reason, use Ctrl O. Okay, now use this window to browse for your file on your computer. Once the JPEG is opened, go to the top menu to Filter. From here, scroll down to Camera Raw. And just like that, you're now in the same place. So those are your two main options. Double click the RAW file or use Filter Camera Raw. Great. In this case, because I have the RAW file available to me, I'll hit cancel one more time and open that up. As I said, this contains much more information, so it's best to work on it. Don't work on a JPEG when you have the RAW file. Now, this window is incredibly massive. This is the latest version of the program. In CS6, it looks different, but most of the features are still there. You have to be really patient and look for them. Okay, you can imagine why loads of people feel intimidated by Camera Raw. What you see on the right side is the basic section expanded. But if you click on Curve, Detail or Color Mixer, you get a bunch more options in every one of them. It's really easy to get confused, but here are my top tips to get awesome results with no headaches. Number 1. Use the Auto feature. This is available on the right side, next to the Edit section. Make sure you don't click on black and white by mistake though. Okay, when you hit Auto, Photoshop looks at a photo and it tries its best to improve it based on what it thinks is ideal. The great thing about it is that you can toggle it on or off so you can see the changes. We can see the red jam at the top is brighter. The shadows are also radically different. And the contrast in the yellow part is much improved. With a single click, you've just improved the photo. To be fair, this doesn't always work, and in this case it's still not looking like I'd like it to. So here's tip number 2. You can always reset your changes. This is done by holding down the Alt or Option key on a Mac. When you do that, the cancel button at the bottom changes to reset. Hit it and you're back to the default state. With this bit of info, you can play with all these sliders as much as you want because you can always start from square one in case you mess up too bad. This means you can work with confidence, even though you may not know exactly what you're doing. And if you hold Alt, you can also reset individual components. Just like that, so you don't have to throw away everything that you've done. Okay, tip number 3 is to start playing with it. I suggest you focus most of your time on the basic section. I won't do a complete breakdown of everything you see here, that's for later on in the course. Instead, let's make this photo pop. Start with the temperature slider. If you raise it up, you'll make it warmer, which means the mood of the photo is gonna change. White is gonna become yellowish. On the other side, a lower value is gonna make it colder. Blue is gonna start creeping in. In this case, I'll go with a moderately cool vibe, 4200. This is a very subjective thing, so don't worry too much about it. There's not a right or the wrong way. Okay, let's keep going. For the exposure, I'll keep things fairly simple. If you use a lower value, everything becomes darker, which is not ideal here considering we have a black background. If we increase it, more light comes through, which is great because product photos tend to look better when they're nice and bright. But don't go overboard though, because these red blotches, these red spots, will let you know that you're pushing it over the limit. Again, I know that you may have questions about all these sliders, but for now, let's keep going. Contrast. A low amount makes everything blend together. We want the opposite. We want the jar to stand out from its background. Use a high value, but don't go overboard with it because again you're gonna see some red spots. I think around plus 35 will work well. Regarding highlights, they're the brightest parts of the image. In my case, the light hits the white label and the result isn't all that great. Again, tip 3 is to experiment, to play with it. If you don't know the logic behind these settings, simply increase them or decrease them and see how it looks like. In this case, it makes sense to go for the negative value, say minus 50 or so. Again, don't think too much of them, use them as a reference. You can obviously go with more or less. With the next slider, shadows, in this specific case, we can control the backdrop. In this case, I'll go for the positive value. Depending on your photo, this slider might adjust other parts of the image. Okay. Looking good so far, let's keep going. We have loads still to do. I'll increase the white value because we dropped the highlights quite a lot. I still want the label to shine through, so this is very much needed. As for the black slider, I'll keep it as it is. I'll quickly jump to vibrance and saturation. I want certain colors to stand out more, so I'll bump up the vibrance to about plus 30 or so. I won't touch the saturation, in general that's not a good idea. I'll now come back up to this part where a lot can change. For example, if I increase the texture value, all the individual seeds in the jar will start coming through. This may or may not be what you want. It's a very subjective thing. If I lower it to say a negative value, the look of the product changes, but note the texture of the background also goes away. I think this is a positive thing because nobody cares about the background in this photo. The clarity slider seems to be somewhat similar, but it's best you play with the sliders until you're happy. Sometimes it may not make sense to darken the image through a slider and then make it brighter through another one, but trust me, at the end of the day it does improve the photo if you know what you're doing. Anyway, overall a positive clarity value. And while we're on this topic, I'd like to remove all that dust, particles and minimize all the flaws from the label. Jump to the details section and here you'll find noise reduction. This is critical. Move it all the way up to 100 and this will have a dramatic change. All of a sudden everything is smoother. Now let's pause. There's a ton more we can do, but it's really detailed stuff that takes quite some time to do. For now, let's consider this done. When you want to wrap up your work in Camera Raw, my advice is you click here next to Open. From this list, choose Open as Object, which is actually short for the Smart Object. Wait a second, and you'll be back in the regular version of Photoshop. Now you can export it as usual, or you can do other edits. But here's the thing, in case you want to change some sliders in Camera Raw, just double click the thumbnail. It's that easy. Yep, double click here and that's that. Wait a few seconds and here you go. All the sliders are exactly as we've left them. I'll hit cancel though. Let's see the before and after. Here's where we've started. And this is the improved version. And just in case you're wondering, here's the final photo after I played with it a bit more. It's a night and day difference. And it's all through the power of Camera Raw. What I want you to do right now is rewind the video and recreate this version. After you'll watch the entire course, you'll be able to get even better results, like this one. But for now, this is good enough. I also attached this photo that's fairly washed out. Bring it into Photoshop, use the Camera Raw filter, and show me what you can do with it. Please be aware that when you use a PNG with a JPEG image, you first have to do this. Go to Filter, Convert for Smart Filters. Then you can jump into Camera Raw. You'll only have an OK button here, but that's totally fine. You can still edit your settings once you click OK. You just have to double click here. So remember, please convert for smart filters. Overall, this was a glimpse into the mighty power of Camera Raw in Photoshop. Have fun with it.